Full and uncut versions available on Patreon. Check in the description below.
Greetings once again, Pokemaniacs out there. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with another manga dive into the world of Pokemon adventures. Platinum, Pearl, Diamond, you know the crew, but unfortunately for them, things splitting up didn't really do what they were hoping. It was the hope that by splitting up and going to the various lakes, they could somehow manage to subvert the machinations of Team Galactic. And unfortunately, they all got beaten down in very interesting ways. Platinum had teamed up with the gym leaders Candace and Maylene, ending up taking on Jupiter at Lake Acuity. Diamond took on Mars at Lake Verity, while Pearl took on Saturn at Lake Valor. It ended up being Lake Valor that the bomb detonated over, drying up the lake and revealing the Guardian. And because of the connection between all three of the Guardians, they all awoke and were all captured after our heroes were beaten down by the admins of Team Galactic. The biggest hiccup seemed to be Diamond, as because of Mars' flighty nature, she didn't double check what had actually happened with Diamond after he seemingly had one last-ditch attempt at saving the Lake Guardian before plummeting into the lake, whereas Saturn and Jupiter definitely would have made sure he had gone down like he seemingly did. But she just assumes that it was a success and she leaves. But what has really gone on? And how will the rest of our heroes recover from, well, not really being able to do what they set out to do? Seems the plans of Team Galactic are just getting started. And the question is, who can stop them? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, we're starting off with Chapter 63, Bogging Down Quagsire. Quagsire. We cut over to Twin Leaf Town at Dia's house, where Joanna has arrived thanks to Sebastian and Rosanna? Rosanna. I'm finally got it memorized. They're exhausted after all that running, with Sebastian wiping the sweat from him with a handkerchief saying, now that was a close call. Rosanna sitting down on the floor saying, I had no idea we were facing such a huge organization. Do you think Dia's okay? Sebastian says, I don't know. I was too busy doing what he asked, bringing his mother to safety. But whether or not he succeeded in protecting the Pokémon of Lake Verity, I bet he's still near it. I'm sure he's all right. Meanwhile, Joanna is visibly worried, thinking of her son. But then she notices the shoes that are right at the doorstep. She says, Did Dia dropped by our home before he went to the lake? Sebastian says, I believe so. Oh, he did have the runner shoes. Okay, I thought about that too. I'm just like, there's no way Diamond just naturally got that fast. Joanna says, the new pair of shoes I bought for him, they're gone. Maybe. She goes running upstairs to his room, checking in the closet, and says, it's gone. It isn't here. His new jacket is missing too. That means I might be able to contact Dia. There's a cell phone in the pocket of that jacket. I wanted to surprise him. Sebastian and Rosanna are overjoyed. Joanna gets on the phone saying, I'll call him. I hope he answers. And sure enough, over with Diamond. He's overeaten some pretzels with his Pokemon as he brings out the jacket out of his backpack and answers the phone. Joanna says, it's him. He answered the phone. Dia, it's you, right, Dia? Diamond says, oh, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry I put you in so much danger. Joanna wells up with tears saying, I'm fine. And you're okay too, right? Diamond says, yeah, I'm okay. And the Pokemon I wanted to protect is with me. Yep, he boarded the ship. As he looks over to, Mesprit, Joanna says, really? I'm so glad to hear that. I don't know how you got involved in all this. I'm sure it's a long story. Anyway, come home. I'll cook grilled berries for you. Diamond says, well, I can't come home just yet. Actually, I probably won't be able to come home for a while. Suddenly, there's a loud roaring sound coming from the phone. Diamond says, Dia, where are you at the moment? And Diamond simply says, inside the airship. I'm going to face Team Galactic now. It's so matter of fact. Joanna, Sebastian, and Rosanna all shout, what? I know that's right. Like, what do you mean? Meanwhile, over with Platinum, we see Platinum, Maylene, and Candace being carried by Rapidash and Empoleon back over to safety, I have to assume, as a blizzard kicks up. Oh, and I see La Bunny is helping to show them the way. Yeah, La Bunny would, I would think, hopefully be the best at navigating through this. And the fact that they're very underdressed is really starting to come into play as Platinum is utterly freezing. Maylene and Candace are completely out. As they arrive at where they find some shelter, looks like some kind of stone structure? Temple? Maylene and Candace are set on the floor. Platinum says, we can shelter from the snow here. Rapidash, please warm up Candace and Maylene. And Rapidash uses the flames of his body to surround all three girls with, flames, but hey, being actually that close to flames, I don't know. Maybe because it's from Rapidash's body, it won't do them any harm and it'll just warm them. As Platinum sits by Rapidash, she says they're strong. She thinks of Jupiter and says they're too strong. I couldn't protect Uxie. But suddenly she hears a roar. Oh wait, is this the temple where Regigigas is? It's one of the few episodes I actually caught. Oh god. Because it was when Brandon showed up and took on Paul. Brandon had all of his Reggies, and that's when Regigigas showed up. Platinum hears a roar from deep within the cave. The temple? Yeah, I'm just gonna check. I think it's a temple. Yep, the Snow Point Temple. Yeah, that's definitely where Regigigas is. Platinum says something's roaring somewhere behind us here. Could it be a wild Pokemon? I might have to capture it if it causes us any trouble. Oh, is she gonna catch Regigigas? I came in here to take shelter from the snowstorm. What is this place? It seems like some sort of ancient structure. Actually, no. Maylene told us about the temple some time ago. Platinum says I need to get Candace and Maylene back to town as soon as they regain consciousness. Need to get them to town, and she passes out, and the Pokeball rolls out of her hand. Is she gonna accidentally catch Regigigas? That would be hilariously awesome. Oh, it is Regigigas! Holy crap! Holy crap! No way. No way. I think I'm also kind of clued in because I think Regigigas was on one of the covers. Oh shit, I think I've been spoiled. One of the covers shows Regigigas and Iron Diamond. Does he become Diamond's Pokemon? But it's Platinum who... Let me stop questioning it. Either that or they just team up with Regigigas. Because in the latter volumes you see Giratina in the Platinum's part of the story arc. So maybe? Might just be that he helps out. Or you might temporarily get him. Because we've had legendary Pokemon before and just temporarily had them. Okay, well I guess we'll see. Meanwhile, back over with Pearl and Rad Rickshaw. He's doing his best to wake up the unconscious Pearl, shaking him, calling out to him. Rad then looks to the sky, seeing the airship flying overhead. He says, the airship is flying toward Veilstone City. That means the Pokemon of Lake Valor is in the belly of that beast. But what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? First he hops on his bike and says, first I'll go after that airship. But he runs off as saying, no, I better rush over to Veilstone City and get ahead of them. No, I need to care for Pearl first. Suddenly, someone comes out saying, you're wrong on all accounts. In a situation like this, you need to use Rain Dance. And, is that a Quagsire and a Floatzel? Weasel? They use Rain Dance, and the rain falls... I bless the rains down in Africa. Bring down rains on all the Magikarp. Man, there's so many Magikarp. Rad says, wow, what a deluge. The lake is filling with water again. The Magikarp are saved. Who are you? How did you do this? He points to the stranger, who pulls off their cloak, revealing, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Crasher Wake. Rad freaks out, saying, oh, of course, you're the water-type Pokemon expert. Crasher Wake. He runs over, saying, I've been a huge fan of yours ever since I was a kid. I watch Sinnoh Pro Wrestling on the TV every Friday at 8 o'clock. Crasher says, let's not get carried away now. I learned about this evil scheme and came to help out, but it looks like I was too late. If only Byron had told me about it earlier. Yeah, unfortunately the gym leaders are not as organized immediately as you would have hoped for this situation, but it's better late than never. Crasher goes over and picks up Pearl, saying, come on, let's go. We'll drown if we just stand around with our mouths open until there's enough water for the Magikarp to swim in. Ryan says, oh, good point. Pearl painfully starts to stir, and Crasher looks to him with a sympathetic eye, thinking, he fought valiantly all by his lonesome, and they left him in tatters. I thought he was obnoxious and impatient when he challenged me at the gym with his buddies, but he's actually a pretty cool kid with a lot of potential, and he has some sort of inner strength. You can see it in his passion for Pokemon battles. He reminds me of him. Is he thinking of Palmer? Probably. Wait, how does Crasher Wake know Palmer? Then again, the Battle Frontier is in Sinnoh, so it's entirely possible. Oh, they're not gonna... I guess that she hasn't caught it yet. That would really turn the tide of things for her to just up and get a Regigigas out of nowhere. Alright, Chapter 64, Besting Buizel, Part 1. Okay. Okay. I'm still not as familiar with the gyms. I think we cut over to the Pastoria City gym, where Pearl is in a bed. He's obviously having a bit of a nightmare after everything that's happened. As he's stirring, he wakes up screaming, panting. He says, where am I? Where are my Pokemon? He looks around seeing gym equipment. He looks over to a device where all of his Pokemon are all healed up. He calls out Chatler, Chimler, Railer. As he tries to get up, his back is in pain. Yeah, considering everything that happened. He then says, that's right, I fought Team Galactic at Lake Valor, but they took Azelf, the willpower Pokemon, thanks Azelf. He then has a bit of a melancholic mood as he listens to the rain outside. He goes over to his Pokemon, gathering up their Pokeball, saying, I'm sorry for all of you too. My commands got all of you injured. I'm so sorry. He then looks out the window saying, hey, where am I anyway? That train. Oh, that's right. Pastoria. This is Pastoria City. These training machines in a spotless room. He then hears someone singing as he exits the room, saying, the sea is my wrestling ring. The raging sea, big waves, small waves, crash, crash, crash your weight, crash, crash, crash your weight. It's also on the radio, and Pearl comes out to see the man cleaning his gym, saying, Crasher Wake? Hush everything away, the radio says as Crasher turns with a smile, saying, hey, you woke up. Pearl gives a bow, saying, you rescued me. Says, thank you very much. Crasher says, no problem. I'm a gym leader. I was just doing my thing. Your cycle shop friend is fine too. He wanted to fix his bike, so I'm letting him use my storage room in the back as a workroom. The radio continues on saying, put out the fire, Crasher Wake. He doesn't like electricity, Crasher Wake. Oh yeah, the sea is my wrestling ring. Yeah, I don't know the melody that this goes to. Crasher then says, it's raining like crazy outside. Come with me. They exit the gym to see Floatzel and Quagsire still doing rain dance. Pearl questions, two of your Pokemon, are they doing rain dance? I get it. The dried up lake. You're making rainfall so Lake Valor fills up with water. For the Magikarp. Crasher Wake pumps his fist, saying, I use the accomplishments I attained through my training to help people and Pokemon. That's my motto. Pearl is a bit shocked by this. Crasher then says, this Floatzel and Quagsire are two proud members of my team. My Floatzel is especially speedy. Would make a perfect addition to your team, don't you think? Pearl is shocked, saying, you're gonna give it to me? Crasher says, nope. Which takes Pearl a bit aback. They walk down a path, Crasher saying, but I'll advise you on how to capture a wild one for yourself. Check out Route 213. Oh yeah, we see a grouping of Floatzel and a Buizel. Crasher tells him, there are tons of lively Floatzel here. Here, take some empty Pokeballs. And he hands them over to Pearl. Pearl grips them and throws them. Oh no, he throws out his Pokemon Chatot, Infernape. Oh, speaking of which, we got Infernape and Luxray, as per usual. And they all take on the Floatzel. Crasher yells out, don't go for the big ones right away. Think about starting with a Buizel and evolving it yourself. That's a good point. Pearl says, got it. Oh no. Well, after Luxray shocks a Buizel, which should be super effective, Pearl says, got it. Now's my chance to capture it. Oh, but a Pokeball hits the Buizel, and the Buizel gets up, stares, and glares at Pearl, staring him down. Pearl says, what? This Buizel isn't only ready for a fight, It seems annoyed or something. Crasher says, you noticed, it's angry. All the Pokemon here are. Pearl questions, angry? As the weasel goes for him and tries to strike at him, Pearl jumps back saying, what? How come? Crasher with a very serious look on his face, which, I gotta tell you, I wasn't expecting Crasher to look this serious. He says, think about it. Route 213 and the marsh are right next to Lake Valor. A bomb powerful enough to evaporate all the water in the lake just exploded. Obviously, their nearby lairs were shaken up pretty badly. They don't understand anything about evil syndicates and whatnot, but they do know it's people who threaten them. Ah, dang. Huh, yeah. I didn't actually think we'd address the devastation this would do to these animals' habitat. Crasher looks to the Floatzel and Weasel surrounding them, saying, and that's who they're angry with. As the Weasel continues to growl at Pearl, he looks down a bit aghast at the situation, saying, well, because I couldn't stop the bomb. That's why. But Crasher carries him off, saying, don't be depressed. When you're feeling down, look through this hole and wish for a fresh outlook. He says, putting him through a prop hole. Crasher goes around saying, you'll see things from a totally new perspective. Using a mirror, Pearl sees himself in the little, oh man, why am I forgetting about what this Krogunk? It's a faceboard for Krogunk. Huh, faceboards. Yeah, I remember them from Sun and Moon. So they started becoming an Sword and Shield. So they started becoming a thing in Platinum? Interesting. As he's in the faceboard for Krogunk, his Pokemon look in shock and then start breaking down laughing. Even Pearl finds himself laughing. Crasher looks to Pearl's Pokemon saying, how do you feel now? Better after laughing, right? There's nothing wrong with a failing as long as you tried. When things go badly, just laugh it off. Pearl should be the one person who knows that best. Pearl says, yes, you're right. He then thinks to himself, I forgot about that because I've been away from Dia for so long. That's exactly why I wanted to become a comedian in the first place. Crasher says, you're going after the guys who took the lake Pokemon, aren't you? When are you leaving? In the morning? Pearl says, yes. Crasher says, well, if you're only here for one short night, why don't I train you? How's that sound? Pearl says, yes, please. Thank you very much, Crasher Wake. Okay, I gotta say, I was not expecting this. I mean, to a certain degree, I thought maybe one of the people like Riley was gonna show up and help train him, or at least join up in the fight. Like maybe how Byron had called Riley, he'd call the others, maybe he knew him. But I don't know, I don't mind that Crasher Wake is getting a little bit more attention. Maybe we'll see more of the gym leaders as we go. We cut over to Veilstone City, the Galactic Veilstone building, where we see Cyrus looking at a monitor depicting the 3 Lake Guardians being transported straight to him. He then says, 3 airships are headed for Veilstone City, and they have all 3 legendary Pokemon, symbolizing knowledge, emotion, and willpower. I want you to be prepared. We'll begin as soon as they arrive. Charon says, very well, boss. I don't know why they keep depicting Charon so ominously. Cyrus then says, the first step of our plan, capturing the Pokemon of the lake, was a success. The next step is creating the red chain by channeling the powers of those 3 Pokemon. Oh, okay. So you need the red chain in order to capture the Algantalkia, huh? Okay, interesting. So I wonder, on the cover, I never know how much I should buy into the cover, but on the cover of this volume, we see Platinum with Cynthia. Could Cynthia train Platinum? I mean, that would be a hell of a training experience right there. All right, chapter 65, Besting Weasel, part 2. We cut back over to the lake where, man, Quagsire and Floatzel, they putting in that work for that rain dance. Whereas Pearl, he's still trying to catch that Weasel, and the Weasel's still knocking away that Pokeball. Rad Rickshaw watches Pearl's training through the little face cutout, the faceboard, and he says to his Pokemon, look, Cliff and Clefette, Crasher Wake is training Pearl tonight. And then thinks to himself, Pearl is exhausted. Crasher then yells, what are you doing? You need to take better aim. And Pearl ends up slipping, falling into the water below, only for the capture to have been a success. He caught a Weasel. Hey, cool beans. Yeah, sure enough, the ball stops shaking and he's caught it. Pearl kneels down, picking up the ball, looking back to Crasher, who's saying, I caught it. And the Pokeball. I did it, Master Wake. I got the Weasel. Crasher gives a somewhat melancholic smile, saying, Just barely. And Pearl looks at the Weasel, who turns away a little bit annoyed, thinking to himself, Master Wake is a water-type Pokemon expert and has a Floatzel. I'm sure he can teach me how to train this Weasel. Then thinks, hey, come to think of it, those two bodyguards. Right! I forgot. It was Uchi who had a Weasel. I forgot all about that. Huh. I wonder if... would Diamond end up getting a Burmy then? That'd be wild if that ended up being the case. Pearl thinks, they told D and me that we were like their apprentices. Maybe I can get as strong as them by using the same Pokemon. Pearl lifts up the Weasel in the Pokeball, saying, I'm counting on you for that, Weasel. And from this day on, your name is Zeller. The Weasel starts rattling around in the Pokeball, almost as if it's trying to escape. As the ball rolls off, Crusher picks it up, saying, don't think it's going to follow your orders just because you captured it. You have to train it, and it has to get used to you. You have to become one with your Pokemon. And when it's time to face your enemies, understand that whether or not your Pokemon listens to you will depend upon how successful our training session tonight is. He hands the ball back over to Pearl, saying, and it's going to be even harder because this Weasel is already hopping mad about that explosion. Pearl says, I get it. Let's get started then, Crasher Wake. Crasher says, not yet. The airship is headed for Veilstone City. That's where you're going, right? You have 4 Pokemon with you, including the Weasel you just captured. That's too few to face a powerful enemy. You're right about that. Honestly, it's the one thing I kept noting. I'm like, y'all have too few Pokemon. Like, that just keeps grinding into me. It's just like, y'all got too few Pokemon for all this. Like, it's fine if they're stupid strong, but, you gotta have a full team to really carry you through. And even if they're strong, just in case you run into a type disadvantage or they're low on health from battling multiple enemies. Now, you can't be doing that. You need a stacked team, buddy boy. Pearl says, you mean? Crusher says, right. You're gonna need to capture at least 2 more Pokemon. And we'll try to develop a combination attack using those 6 tonight. Damn. Crasher Wake's crash course. Pearl says, tonight? It took me so long just to capture this Weasel, and all the Pokemon in this area have gotten so aggressive. Crasher laughs. Sounds like a great challenge. Come on, let's head for Route 212. Relax and focus on all the new Pokemon you'll see there. He pats him on the back, saying, good luck, Pearl. Show me what you're made of. And hey, it's grinding, baby. Honestly, we don't really get to see actual grinding in the manga like you would normally see. Just being like, okay, gotta train up, gotta get better. Oh, would Platinum's improvement maybe come from challenging the last gym leader, Volkner? No, Pearl has a look of at least somewhat confidence with his Pokemon at his back, except for Weasel, who is probably not just like, I don't want to be caught by this guy. Head over to Veilstone City with all 3 ships arriving at the Team Galactic base. The grunts are there to greet him. We have Jupiter arriving on her Tangrowth. You have Saturn arriving in his weird little pod thingy. And then you have Mars in that friggin' windmill. No, I will not get over that. It is so weird. Why a windmill? It's not a bad disguise, but still. I do love how you just really pronounce how different they are. You got Jupiter hopping off her Tangrowth like an action hero doing a superhero landing. You have Saturn being gently placed on the ground by his little pod mech thingy. And then you have Mars just traipsing out of her friggin' windmill ship. Like, it just tells you everything you need to know. All the commanders are here and at the ready. As they enter into the command center to see Cyrus and Chiron, Mars says, we're back. Saturn calls out for Cyrus, saying, boss, while Jupiter just doesn't say anything. Cyrus turns with a smile, saying, nice work, you 3. Gather all the grunts in the hall. Jupiter gives a nod. Saturn says yes, while Mars simply says sure. All the grunts march into the hall, lined up in single file at the ready, as Cyrus takes his place at the podium up front, with all 4 of the admins at his back. I really don't understand why they keep Chiron in the little bit of silhouette, though. Like, they keep singling him out for some reason. I mean, he's not as youthful looking as the others, I'll give you that much, but still. Regardless, Cyrus addresses the congregation saying, "Fellow members of Team Galactic, heed my words. The words of Cyrus, your leader. You know the suffering of living in this imperfect world. The people, the Pokémon, they're all imperfect. Imperfection leads to violence and conflict, which I loathe. I hate this world for its imperfections." Oh, oh, man. Okay, I see how this is. I mean, a few commenters have said before this is kind of like a cult, and yeah, you got that right. He raises his fist in anger, saying, "This world must be perfect. This world must change, but who will accomplish that change? Who indeed? Me, Cyrus, and you, the members of Team Galactic." He gestures to a monitor behind him, showing off the late Guardian, saying, "Now, let me show you the 3 legendary Pokemon. Behold, they are no longer the stuff of myth, and they are ours. They shall provide us with the energy needed to transform this world. That energy will make our dream come true. We will crystallize the power of these 3 Pokemon to forge the red chain, and then, yes, and then, my dear friends, the world we have always dreamt of will become a reality. Report to the commanders for your new assignments. Some of you will go to Mount Cornet, and some of you will remain here. Though we follow different paths, our hearts will always be one. Glory to Team Galactic!" And the admins clap along with all the grunts cheering and roaring in unison. Honestly, it's kind of weird to see such a passionate Cyrus, and every version of Cyrus has like one moment where he just gets real manic, and it just kind of throws me like, ugh. Well, cut to the morning. Pearl seems to have captured 2 more Pokemon. He and his Pokemon are utterly exhausted, and I hope someone gives you a ride in a car so you can rest up or something. The Crasher looks over and smiles, saying, "You did it. You have 6 Pokemon now." And I kept harping on the fact that it seemed like Diamond was gonna capture more and more Pokemon as time went on the quickest, and yet here we have Pearl immediately capturing more Pokemon. I would have thought Riley might have kind of pushed that, but he was more about making sure Diamond trained up the Pokemon he currently had. Pearl, breathing heavy, says, "Yes, Crasherwake, thank you so much." He then goes to Mount Luxray, saying, "I better get going now." But Rad comes over saying, "What? That's crazy. You've been training all night. You can't go on without any rest." Pearl turns with a smile, saying, "I have to. I don't have any time to spare. Thanks for everything, Mr. Rickshaw. If I succeed, I'll send word." Crasher says, "You do that. Oh, how about if I get you a present for when you do? What would you like?" Pearl takes a moment, thinking, and then says, "The song. That song I heard you sing last night. The one that goes, 'The sea is my wrestling ring.' I want a theme song like that." Crasher laughs. "Gotcha." And then suddenly, here comes Sebastian's stagecoach. Pearl crushes this as we see Joanna in it, calling out, "Pearl!" Pearl says, "Dia's mom?" Joanna exits, saying, "Long time no see, Pearl. I'm so glad I caught you. I rushed down here to tell you something very important." Pearl then looks over to the Drifblim from Fantina, saying, "Hey, you're Fantina's Drifblim. Wasn't Dia going to return you to her?" The Drifblim then hands over 2 Pokeballs. Oh, okay, the other Splash. Oh, so it was Licky Licky. Dia threw down Licky Licky to kind of like throw them off. Okay, I was wondering, it's just like, did he leave behind poor Terra and Licky Licky? Pearl says, "Dia's true. And this Licky Licky, is it Dia's new Pokemon? What about Dia? Where's Dia?" He turns to Joanna, saying, "Don't tell me they got him." Rosanna says, "No, they didn't, but he isn't here right now." Joanna says, "Dia fought valiantly at Lake Verdi, just like you did at Lake Valor. But now Dia's inside Team Galactic's airship." Pearl says, "What?" Shadowed up. "Is that a Diglett?" No, I could just look at the covers to tell which Pokemon Pearl has. Yeah, Diglett and a Tauros. Okay. I ain't mad at it. Who had a Tauros previously? I feel like someone else had a Tauros. Or am I just thinking of Ash's multitude of Tauros he got from the Safari Zone? Maybe. Okay. Diglett, though. Yeah, not many people actually have a Diglett. Not many protagonists, at least. Interesting. Alright, see what Pearl does next. Unless we cut over to Platinum or Diamond. Alright, chapter 66. Cleaning up Grimer. Pearl says, Dia is inside Team Galactic's airship? Joanna says, according to Dia, this is what happened. Dia jumped onto the net that captured Mesprit and tried to cut through it using Torterra's razor leaf. At the same time, he called out his licky licky to try to open the net, to force open the net, while obscuring the vision of Mars, the Team Galactic commander, with a lot of razor leaves. And Diamond says, but I failed. Oh, he just kind of accidentally into a victory. No wonder Mars didn't think much of it, because just like so many things would have just had to have happened kind of matter-of-factly. Jana remembers Diamond saying, but I failed. I only managed to cut through a small section of the net, and Kit couldn't pry it open. Both of my Pokemon fell into the lake, and the net got dragged into the airship with me still on it. I hid at first because I thought Mars was going to come inside the airship, but the airship left as if nothing had happened with me inside. I bet Mars didn't see me calling Kit out, so when True and Kit fell into the lake, she thought the splashes were True and me. I thought that was all a part of Diamond's plans. Oh man. Pearl questions, wait, how did you talk to Dia? Joanna says, I called him on his cell phone. I got him as a present. Sebastian then says, I was flabbergasted when I heard his story. When I returned to the lake, the Team Galactic grunts had all vanished, and this Drifloon was pulling young Master Dia's Pokemon out of the lake. It was all just as young Master Dia related to us. Pearl then questions, young Master Dia, and who exactly are you? Sebastian gives a bow saying, I beg your pardon for neglecting to introduce myself. I am Sebastian, the Blitz family butler. Pearl says, that means your ladies. Sebastian shakes his hand saying, precisely, and you must be Master Pearl. I've been so looking forward to meeting you. I'm actually glad they finally met up. I was wondering at what point they'd end up meeting with each other. Actually, how far did they have to travel to get here? Dang. Rosanna then speaks up saying, I'm Rosanna, Professor Rowan's assistant. Nice to meet you. Pearl almost kind of dismissively thinks to himself, Dia's been doing well, and then shouts, that's great news. I'm glad you told me all this. I was just about to leave for Veilstone City, too. I'll hand these two over to Dia when I get there. If I know my Dia. Oh, Joanna says, if I know my Dia, he's just fine. Rad then steps up saying, Pearl, use this. It's in perfect condition. Showing off a brand new engineered bike. Ah, nice. Oh, Rad's such a good guy. Pearl hops right on and starts pedaling off into the distance. Everyone watching. I love the little Clefairy just waving him off. Crusher comes up next to Joanna saying, that boy Pearl taught him everything I could in one night. He's a good, enthusiastic boy. And if he believes his friend Dia is just fine, I'm sure your son will successfully complete his mission. Joanna, with a kind of melancholic face, a melancholic smile, looks down saying, thank you for your trust in him. I thought he went on a little jaunt with Pearl. I had no idea who was involved in something so huge. I still haven't gotten it all straight in my head, but he explained it as best as he could. He flashed back to when Joanna was talking with her son, Diamond saying, I'm going to take on Team Galactic now. Joanna says, what are you talking about, Dia? No, Diamond, why do people keep doing that? Don't do anything rash. Diamond says, Mom, you're at home, aren't you? Are you in my room? Joanna says, yes, why do you ask? Diamond says, then you can see it, can't you? All the Pro Team Omega posters, books, and toys. So you've seen the movies and DVDs? Joanna says, sure. I can even sing the theme song. Diamond says, okay then, I want you to remember what the story's about. The theme song then plays. Oh, so they're all puppets? That's kind of hilarious. So it's kind of like, what was that one series with the puppet? God, I can't remember. All right, had to look it up real quick. Thunderbirds. There we go. That was the one I was thinking of. The theme song plays. Beating across the land, soaring across the sky. Gather round, team, we have an emergency, get ready. Pika, you take the Omega plane, Roger. Polly, you take the Omega train. Gary, you take the Omega ship, Omega balloon, Omega rescue combine. And the villain says, ha ha ha, we meet again, Pro Team Omega. The group says, do you really think you could the villain says, do you really think you could put a stop to the sinister plan of the great demon Brioche? Diamond tells his mom, I thought bad guys like that only existed on TV, but I was wrong. They're real. There are people who are trying to take over the world and control it. They cheat, they lie, they fight dirty, they steal all kinds of stuff, They hurt people. I just can't sit back and watch. I have to do something about it. That's how I feel, Mother. Hey. Oh, see, I like that. I mean, it's not the greatest that he's putting himself in harm's way, all things considered, but that's the series, let's be real. But sometimes you kind of got to trust your child if they're picking up the right lessons from what they watch. All right, we pick up with Pearl making his way up a mountain. Is he near Mount Cornet? Chat-Tot signals to him about something, and Pearl stops his bike and climbs over some rock. Oh, it's a blockade of Team Galactic grunts with Meowth and Grimer. How many times have I actually seen just a regular Meowth, especially in the manga? That's kind of weird to see. There aren't really too many Meowths that you usually see. I mean, usually they're kind of off to the side. It's normally not used as prominently as this. It's more usually you see a Persian, or just seeing a Meowth that isn't talking. Pearl peeks over at the Team Galactic grunts. I love how they're lined up too. You know, the guys facing one direction, the girls facing the other. Pearl thinks to himself, this place is already swarming with enemies. They're not going to let me into Veilstone City, are they? But one of the rocks he's holding on to kind of falls apart and clatters down. And one of the Meows point out Pearl's location to the grunts, and the Meows and Grimers all go rushing in. So Pearl brings out his Buizel, saying Zeller. But Buizel immediately attacks Pearl, biting on his head. Pearl says, ow, I'm not your enemy. You won't listen to me yet. But Buizel, seeing the incoming other enemies, uses his propeller-like tail to blow them all back. Pearl says, good. I don't care who it gets mad at now. I just need Zeller to be up for a fight. And while the enemies can't see, because of all the dust that got kicked up into their eyes. Oh, okay, I get it. Pearl sends something into the ground. You see it dig and strike several of the enemy Pokemon, just all from underground using, dig. It's a Diglett. One of the Meows sees the Diglett and goes for it. But much like Whack-A-Mole, it's just popping in and out of these holes. Oh, it's a little playful. I love that one of the enemy Meows just commands the others, like, go get him, boys! See, I can't think of a Meowth now and not think of it talking. So as all the Galactic grunts and their Pokemon move in on the one Diglett, Pearl says they're gathered around to stop its quick moves. All right, now's my chance. And he brings out his Tauros. Yeah, time to bowl him over. The Tauros goes rushing in on the Galactic grunt, smashing through him. Yep, much like bowling pins. Pearl says, wow, we still have a lot to learn about each other, but we managed a combination attack, right? Diggler, taller? Is that the name? Pearl doesn't notice a Grimer sneaking up from behind, but as it tries to go in for an attack, it's beat back down by the rest of Pearl's Pokemon. And he says, see that? You 6 Pokemon are now my team. Now, on to the Galactic Veilstone building. Alright. Okay. Not a bad team, all things considered. It is actually looking like a pretty solid team. And even split between cute Pokemon or like fully evolved or like more intimidating looking ones. Alright. So Pearl's the first to get a complete team of 6, including Infernape, Chat-Tot, Luxray, Buizel, Tauros, and Diglett. All dudes. Huh. I didn't know that I never actually checked to see that Platinum's Empoleon is actually a female. It's not something I really think about too often, though. The genders of the Pokemon. Unless it's very apparent what gender they are, it's just like, eh. Alright, and the last chapter of this video, as well as this volume, Chapter 67, Encountering Elekid. Oh, we pick up with Platinum being awoken by Candace and Maylene. Oh, they're at a Pokemon Center. Candace says, hey. Maylene says, wake up. As Platinum awakens in a bed, she says, did I fall asleep? Are you two all right? Candace says, that's our line. Platinum looks around, questioning, where are we? Maylene says, the Pokemon Center at Snow Point City. Candace says, you carried us down here and took care of us, didn't you? Thank you. Okay, that Regigigas definitely carried them down the mountain. No, that was definitely Regigigas. But it did so of its own autonomy to help them out. Interesting. Maylene gives a bow as Candace shakes Platinum's hands. Maylene says, thank you so much. Platinum says, but this doesn't make any sense. I did carry you somewhere to treat your injuries, but it was someplace that looked like an ancient ruin. Candace thinks, a ruin, huh? Maylene says, the only thing that fits that description around here would be Snowpoint Temple, right? Platinum thinks, Snowpoint Temple? Do you remember Maylene's words saying, you need to get permission from Candace to enter Snowpoint Temple? Platinum gives a bow saying, oh yes, that must be the place. I'm so sorry. Entered the temple without your permission. Candace says, it's okay, really. I've prevented people entering it without permission, but I don't really know all that much about the temple to tell the truth. Maybe you dreamt that you went there? After all, we're all here. Maylene says, that's right. Anyway, our priority is to come up with a way to defeat the enemy. So far, we've lost. They took the legendary Pokemon of the lake with them. We need a new strategy. Yes, the Powerpuff Girls. I guess center attendant? Because I guess it wouldn't be a Nurse Joy. The attendant says, Candace, that man you called a while back is returning your call. Freaking landlines in this weird... Is that so weird? It's just, I got so used to people having poking ears to communicate. Candace says, oh, thanks. He answers the phone saying, hello, Candace speaking. Hey, is there something you forgot to tell me? Oh, Byron? Yeah. Everybody was a little ill-informed here. You know, maybe Byron isn't the leader of the of the gym leaders in this region, because he ain't doing a great job of letting everybody know what's up. Or maybe he is, and he's just not that great at it. She's really giving him an earful as she says, that's just how incredibly powerful the enemy is? Well, I'm telling you, he was unbelievably strong. We need backup, and we need it now. Maylene shouts into the phone too, saying, and we need a train too. We want somebody to train us. Byron says, okay. I'll send someone over right away. Personally, I have to take care of Professor Owen and Mr. Berlitz. They're still recovering as well as continuing their research here in Catalog City. Oh, researching the legendary Pokemon? How about I send my son Rourke? They say no. If the enemy was too strong for even Candace and Maylene... No, I think that's Byron saying... No, if the enemy was too strong for even Candace and Maylene, yeah, just Rourke alone. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Rourke. He ain't up for this. No, your son's a little too soft. And Byron says, so then the only person I can turn to, although I'd rather not. He calls out someone and it's answered, oh, Volkner. Answered going, ding dong, the number you dialed is not in service due to a power outage. Oh no. Is he a lazy boy? Byron says, what? He cut over to Volkner at the Sunny Shore Gym, where, as usual, he's sitting down. Look, the most notable things I know about Volkner is he looks cool, he's always sitting. Volkner's just chilling. Oh, okay. The Windworks manager. It doesn't actually have a name. Says, I see, I understand. The blackout resulted from all the town's electricity being sent to one spot. The other worker says, that's so. I'm glad I called you here from Floroma Town. The manager says, oh, no problem. So he brought his daughter with him. I'll get you up and running with the electricity I brought from our power plant. It would be dangerous for ships if the Vista lighthouse remained dark. Oh, lighthouse. The manager then says, my daughter and I are going to head over to check out the cause of this blackout. The worker says, thank you very much. As the manager and his daughter make their way, he says, I think here it is. He says, looking through a map. Wait, is Volkner taking up all the power in the city? He says, excuse me, I'm from Floroma's Valley Windworks. Whoa! His daughter says, it's so bright. As they open the door to the gym, the manager says, just as I thought, the Sunny Shore Gym. The entire city is dark except for this place. Look how bright. Oh, his daughter says, look how brightly it's shining. As they make their way inside and make their way to Volkner, he says, hey, you're the gym leader, aren't you? Volkner turns saying, huh? Challenger? Oh god, he looks so lethargic. He kinda makes me think of Kakashi. It's been a long time since anyone challenged me, and those few who have were all weak and boring. I sure hope you're the kind of trainer who will rekindle my joy at fighting Pokemon battles. Ah, he's one of those. It's one of those things where nobody usually gets all the way to him, and everyone who does, he's kind of where the buck stops usually. He sends out a Raichu and an Elekid. I sure hope you're the kind of trainer who rekindle my joy at fighting Pokemon battles. But the manager says, wait, no! I came here to investigate the catastrophic blackout at Sunny Shore City. He gives Volkner his card. Volkner looks at it saying, oh, you're the director of Valley Windworks. So, you're not a challenger. What a pity. He tosses away the card. I went through all the trouble of renovating this gym, but no one's come to battle me. The manager says, what? As he looks at all the just the electrical systems that's going on here. My God. The manager starts going to the controls with his daughter and her Drifloom saying, this huge device here, you have to shut it down. Come on, this town doesn't belong to you, you know? You can't take all the electricity for yourself. Faulkner says, okay, I'm sorry. Really, I am. But it's just because I haven't been able to fight any exciting battles lately. He yawns. The manager then says, that doesn't give you the right to disrupt the everyday life of all the townspeople. But then his phone rings and Faulkner picks it up saying, hello? Oh, something said on the line gets his attention. He then hangs up and rises. The manager questions, what's wrong? Faulkner says, circumstances have changed. Puts on his jacket, saying, I have the feeling something exciting is about to happen. Okay. Okay, so yeah, Faulkner is definitely not in command of the gym leaders here. Okay. it's definitely Byron. Okay, over at the Team Galactic base, the elite grunt, I love that he at least wears a cloak so I know he's the elite grunt, says, we're ready, boss. Tyra says, good. Now we shall create the crystal out of Azelf, Uxie, and Mesprit. The crystal with which we will forge the red chain. Let us begin. He places both of his palms on the console in front of him, and it begins to whir to life. The lake guardians seem like they're being shocked or drained of energy as the device in the center where they are starts to form some kind of crystal. The elite grunt says, that was magnificent, boss. How many chains will we need in all? Tyrus says, time, space, 2. We'll need 2 chains. The grunt says 2 because we are pursuing the temporal Pokemon who controls time, Dialga, and the spatial Pokemon who controls space, Palkia. Those 2. And when time and space intertwine, they will create a double spiral end. Tyra says, a new universe will be born, an original and perfected creation, and it will absorb this imperfect world so that we may create a new one. Charon thinks to himself, oh my, what a dastardly plan. The elite grunt says, all right then, we'll make 2 chains, but the crystal we created is only enough to form 1 chain. We'll have to wait for these 3 Pokemon to regain their strength before we can create another crystal. Sarah says, very well. We then cut over to the Galactic Veilstone Building airship hangar, where a figure moves out of one of the airships. The figure then hides as we see Cyrus walking on a gangway overhead. Diamond looks out saying, I'll help you, I promise. Azelf, Uxie, Mesprit, end of the chapter and the volume. Alright, well, Diamond, despite usually being the slowest, is the first one on the scene. The only downside is he's down a lot of Pokemon. I'm pretty sure he only just has his Munchlax and his Sheldon, which are his lowest level Pokemon as far as I could tell. Unless we see Munchlax evolve and Sheldon. And he's resourceful, so we'll see. He might manage. Pearl is making his way. He's on his way, had a crash course of his own with Crasher Wake, and a full team of Pokemon, as well as having Diamond's Pokemon on hand, as well as Fantina's Drifloom. That poor Drifloom just still can't get back to his owner. Fantina must be having a hell of a time getting around right now. And then Platinum, I guess, is going to be trained by Volkner. She might end up earning her badge kind of wonky at, like, there's something about taking on the last gym leader in these games, well, in these adaptions. It always goes a little bit weird, and especially how it happens. It either happens off panel or just kind of in a weird roundabout way. But I'm interested to see how she grows. And then, friggin', oh my god, does she have Regigigas? I can't stop dwelling on that. And even if it's only a temporary thing, yo, Regigigas being at the command of one of our protagonists, that would be wild. That would be wild, man. But it might just be what we need in order to take on all this nonsense with Dialga and Palkia. Well, we'll see. But man, everybody's kind of had to go through a little bit of a situation with, not really being too capable. I mean, Diamond's been locked in. Like, Once he locked in, he locked in. Like, he just going at it. He got lucky. He got very lucky in that battle against Mars. I thought he at least planned a little, but no, he just accidentally into an okay enough situation. He got a Metal Gear Solid his way through the base. Pearl, he's got it. He got all these Pokemon, and he got a full team. They ready to go, and they're fully capable. Can make up for any weaknesses the rest of his team has. Platinum, too. It's either gonna be the overwhelming power of Regigigas, or she's gonna have to get up more Pokemon too. We'll see. But I'm interested to see how the girls will grow from this little experience that they've had. And I'm interested to see Volkner in action. He's someone who I never actually got to see. Games, animation, I just know his look and his face, and he's got one of the best designs of the gym leaders in this region. But I know nothing about the dude. Didn't even know his personality, which is, I'm so strong. I'm bored. It's just like, hey, there you go. So I can't wait for the next time, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you later. So then, take care. Bye-bye.